It's a RLCS name that we've recognized. They're an RLCS contender that we've seen before. And I'm looking for them to establish dominance against this BX3 team.
Right, so we are going to get ourselves into this game, which has already started up. So, Johnny, means that we don't have to try and verbally tread water this time.
I can hopefully verbally tread water better than I can actually tread water. I am a terrible swimmer.
I don't think I ever got like my silver certificate in swimming at all. But this is a team right now in Penta that will be looking towards possibly taking the entire tournament. They are an outsider for it, but they are certainly a team that we are looking at. Killer number 7, a player that's been relatively quiet in my opinion ever since the RLCPL, where he did actually win the entire thing.
Yeah, former teammates of Pashi and Siki, more well-known German players. Killer number 7 is a start veteran. He's been around for a long time and never really looked better than he has on this roster Penta. I think this is the best iteration we've ever seen of him. Pondix and Freaky must be bringing the best out of him. But BX3, we knew nothing about this team before today, but I did get a chance to see them playing one ranked game earlier. I was watching Diffused Boys, that's Pashi, Scrubkiller, and Nielscock, getting an early scrim in on ranked, and BX3, they were taking them to the wire. So this could be closer than we expect. Good strike by Killer number 7. It should have probably been defended. Looks like we had a little bit of a fight at the near post from BX3. They'll be wanting to avoid any repeats of that situation.
And BX3 have got one of those players that we did name drop earlier, Sacred. I didn't actually know he was here today, so I wouldn't have praised him at all.
Yeah, Sacred is just another one of those players who has a pretty big presence in the online ranked Europe scene. There's going to be quite a lot of those players popping up in team names that we're not familiar with, and then we see the roster and we think, oh, this could be a good series or a good at least couple of games. And BX3, wow, they do tie the series with Complet. Really well done here to get a dunk, follow up the play himself. He rotated really wide there to give himself all of the options that he needed. Should that ball bounce down at a different angle than he expects. Very well done.
Yeah, it's a case of he understood that he had his teammates. So why not just go for the possible mistake on your opponent's making it? And there he took it, and that is going to tie up this game. And that is the opportunity for Sacred to start moving forward as he passes it straight back to his teammates.
BX3 is certainly looking dangerous. I saw the couple of goals that I did see them score against Pashi, Scrub, and Nielscock in ranked. Included a double touch rebound, self-set, off the backboard by one of their players, and a mind game goal. So they're certainly playing at the top level in terms of mechanics and decision making in offense. And so far, haven't looked too bad defensively. They're making a lot of interceptions to the midfield. So we haven't seen as many shots from Penta as we might expect. Good clear to the side there by Complet, showing that he is not. He just here to.
Oh no!
Oh my goodness, that wasn't the best play though. He had a pretty solid defensive move before this, and then he's really had a bit of a blunder at the near post here, moving forward too early. Center ball by his teammate, not what you want to see.
So BX3 now find themselves behind by a goal. And that is going to be just about halfway through this game now. Both these teams are looking fairly solid and a lot faster and quicker with their rotations than we saw in the previous game.
I've just noticed that I was wondering this. I thought this guy, Complete, is doing so much here. He's carrying, he's all over the place. But then I realized all 3 of the players have that in their name as part of the team name. So my bad on that one.
They're not helping us out here by having a name and then another name.
Oh my goodness, I'm struggling to read all of these. It's bad enough when we're in Sweden and I can't read all of the Swedish words. And now we come to cast a tournament and all of these players have multiple sponsors in their name. What a shot by Pondix.
Oh, that
one of the best
bounce,
strikers in Europe is Pondix, I would say.
Freaky wanted to get to that ball, but the bounce he could not anticipate. And therefore, there was going to be no third goal for Penta. Here's the opportunity to try and put it in, but that is too much of an angle. That's still dangerous, though, and Sacred is going to tie this up.
Another close series here. We did not expect this. We thought this was going to be another tournament where it starts off pretty slow, pretty one-sided, with a lot of very one-sided games. But another close affair here. Sacred and the boys are bringing it to their far more well-known opponents. Penta, we have to remember, are a team that have struggled under pressure online, failing to qualify for both RLCS Season 1 and 2 group stages, and only making it into Season 3 group stage from an additional round that was introduced to replace a team who had a player from a region that was not allowed to participate. So they really only made it in as 9th place in Europe, you could say.
Certainly are a team that have had much more time to perform in much more minor tournaments, usually the weekly champs. I haven't managed to transition it anywhere else. Still tied up, and we are into the final minute of this matchup. Double commit means Freaky needs to get contact, and he's managed to get a little bit just to slow this game down enough so Killer and Pwned can rotate themselves back. Pwned, one of the better players in the world, are just carrying that ball long distances. Killer can keep going. He's got an open net to aim for, and that is Penta in the lead.
Smart placement. He even made it difficult for his teammate to steal this goal as well by shooting it so far to the right. He's saying, Pwn, if you want to steal my goal, you've got to be risking a miss. So please, let me have this one. And he does. And Killer on the board.
That was a huge call by that final defender for BX3 as he just charged forward, almost close to the middle ground of the pitch. You have to win those as that final player, otherwise you are going to concede. That is exactly what happened, but that is an unconvincing touch. Still opportunities for BX3 to move themselves forward, and they are going to need it. That is going to be off that back.
Nicely done.
Just managed to get up there in time. Freaky takes the bait, but does manage to get it away. And that is huge for Penta.
Surprised that I haven't seen a demo attempt from Pondex yet this game. One of the most notorious demo players in the game. Killer number 7 taking that away from the goalkeeper. Well played. And they're looking to just play keep away for the final few seconds here. The goal does stand in their favor, and that will hit the ground. 1-0. Penta Sports take game 1. A closer game 1 than we expected, but they did look like they had that under control for the most part.
Yeah, definitely very good in terms of the fundamentals of their gameplay, rotation, boost management, and aerial gameplay.
And
all
goatees,
there.
phenomenal.
Oh, that
One
is
of the
a
better
solid
ones I've seen in
goatee.
the Rocket League scene.
That's not like Greedy's
Strong
I'm
goatee.
thinking about it sort of goatee. He's not committed to that goatee just yet. That is full-on Rafa Benitez style goatee.
Oh, certainly. That was looking very good. Could be what's giving them such a strong stage presence. If you see a goatee like that up against you at the other side of the stage, that's going to give you, something else to think about outside of the game.
If
and
he's willing
taking
to
players
commit,
outside of the game, give them something else to think about. That can,
you have to be knowing that if he's willing to commit to that goatee, he is willing to commit to that ball.
Going to commit to anything.
He is going. You will not be able to stop him. But Penta find themselves a little bit closer in that game than they would have originally anticipated. But BX3 really showing up. Just a couple of mistakes early on in the game did cause that to be a little bit more against them than they would have wanted. As we get ourselves prepped for game number 2. And this is now match point as we head on to Manfield for Penta Sports.
Yeah, game faces were on for Penta there. They don't look too worried by what the task that is ahead of them. Some nice pre-jump saves coming out of Killer number 7 there. Bit of a high attempted read from Freaky on the wall. We'll see if he's going to make that same move later on in this game, and indeed the series. Try to block those clears out wide. It's something that we're seeing a lot more, especially at the high level of Europe Online Rocket League. Getting on the wall preemptively to try and stop the other team from clearing the ball in that avenue.
Jules might actually have an opportunity to set up one of his teammates just too close to the ball. We saw that a lot during our last series as well. And finally, that third rotation came through. Should not have been given that amount of time as Killer. Crucial touch to take it from the oncoming, bombarding offensive player. We are all tied up, just a minute down. Freaky tries to get himself in the way, but that is going to cause one of the teammates on BX3 just to try and keep that away from their side. Now Pwned gets that off that top part of the wall. Only 90 seconds into this matchup, we are still tied up as Penta look to start boost starving and pressure it into this final third.
Interesting to see Pwn bring in the Batmobile today. Of course, a common car for competitive Rocket League, but for the longest time, he was one of the most prevalent Dominus users in Europe. And he was very, very good at that car. Of course, with the car seeing less play, it is good to see it getting some representation. But this time, Pondex hops on the Batmobile bandwagon.
I'm sad, I'm thankful for the Aussies, who at least showed us some Dominus love. Because it used to be huge just a year ago, and now we're seeing it nowhere. It's almost like the Batmobile just took the spot. And now we have the Mantis as well, which is almost taking that spot. That was almost turned straight into the net by Freaky. But we are still all tied up. BX3 doing a very good job of just controlling themselves that little bit more and spreading themselves out across the pitch.
Yeah, they're holding strong in game 2, and a nice clear from Pondex, but only able to get it as far as Jules, who has been doing a pretty good job of reading the clears off Penta. And we're far away from the player, but we can see bar down and out.
Oh, 2 players missed.
Denied by the crossbar's killer, but Pondex will come and slam it in from point-blank range. Easy goal for him. He can survey everything that's happening in front of him. Wide open net. He even puts it behind the goalkeeper, who was recovering. Nice placement by him.
So Penta, if they can maintain this lead, they will put down BX3 and continue their journey in this tournament. Here comes Freaky. Just can't quite get that past the final defender.
Interesting that Killer wanted to pop that ball.
Killer still wants to go. He's refusing to give
I
up.
feel like he realized that he'd put his defender in a bad position, and he tried to make up for it himself, but he had no boost to his name. Oh, the demo coming in from Pondex. We have to look out for those, especially against teams who are going to defend their nets a little bit better than BX3. Expect to see Pondex making those sweeping lines across the goal to try and get bumps and demos. Honestly, the most notorious player in Europe for that strategy. Very frustrating to play against.
Oh, Sacred tried to just sneak that into the near corner. Was not able to do so, and now they are starting to run out of time. 1 minute and 45 remaining for BX3 to find at least a goal. If they cannot, then they will be defeated. That's still dangerous. Penta will look for that second. They will get it until Dwolls comes in at the final possible moment and tries to go for the carry. He has been huge here. Managed to get the pressure away from his team as well. But Penta so good at spreading themselves out in that defense. Just getting one player to get contact, getting another player to get contact, and finally you find it out of your own half, you are safe.
Yeah, a lot of credit has to go to Freaky. Rarely giving away possession in the 1 game and 4 minutes that we have seen. Giving his team a lot of security at the back. So we have seen Killer number 7 throwing himself at a lot of balls with no fear of Freaky double committing with him. Because Freaky's such a good player at the back. Oh my goodness, another bouncer on the line. Does get cleared. This really shouldn't be happening, but the jitters of the stage are definitely coming into play here.
And Penta have never played at a LAN before. This is completely new for them. And those whiffs could be a sign of those nerves starting to show up. And Penta, as you can also see, are leaving someone back all the time. They do not want to commit free. They are not going to go for a V. They're going to go more for an L. Just leave someone back all the time. Ensure that that goal is not conceded. And they will pick up a win.
It's a good half flip out of that aerial by Pondex. He realized he was getting beaten to the ball. Half flips back into position. And he's in position to set up Freaky, who's made a little pilgrimage from his defensive location. Well done to tap that in. There was a little bit of interference in front of him, but he just ignored that. Read the miss, gets the 2-goal lead. Comfortable cushion for Penta moving forward.
And that is something that pro players do very well that I've noticed I do very badly, and a lot of other players do in ranked, in terms of you hesitate. You see something that could happen and you think it will happen. Instead, Freaky just commits to his original thought and he gets rewarded with a goal, and Penta will be rewarded with a 2-0 sweep. Big for them, and they will continue on in this tournament.
Yeah, one of the scariest teams in Europe. All of the best teams in Europe hate to play against these guys because on their day they are so awkward to play against. The demos from Pondex, Freaky so solid at the back, and Killer number 7 has never looked better on any roster